In this lesson, we'll finish up the vent on the backlight by putting in some of the interior pieces. All right, so here is our vent right here. So we basically need the little slats that go in here. We can use these little fins, but to go in here and individually place those might be a little bit tedious and take a little bit too long. So we could try something a little bit different. I'm just going to grab one of these. Actually, I'm going to use this guy back here. So just grab that guy. Control D to duplicate. I'm going to just pull him up. I'm going to tweak his shape just a little bit. If you see, it's really sharp, and I don't want it to be quite so sharp. So I'm just going to grab both of these edges, select contiguous edges, and then I'm just going to scale those in Y towards each other, and then I'll pull them both out a bit. And that's just going to smooth that front face out a little bit instead of being so sharp. Okay. And now I'm just going to rotate that in X, and let's actually not rotate it quite so far. Let's go maybe 60 degrees or so. All right, so basically now I'm going to try to build a row and then deform it into that cavity there. So first we need to actually build a row of these guys. I'm going to delete history, freeze those transforms. So let's take a look. If I Control D, duplicate this and move it, it looks like I want them to be about 0.2 units apart. Okay, so and that's in the Z direction. Okay, so now to automate this process, I'm just going to go up here and duplicate special. Okay, and this is going to bring up this option box. And now I want to set this. I'm going to go under world, and I'm going to turn off that duplicate input graph. And now this is going to give you settings that you can change for all of your duplicates. Okay, I'm going to say I want 20 just to be safe. And now I want to move each one of those duplicates. You can say I want each one to be rotated a certain amount or scaled a certain amount. I want each one of these to be moved down to 0.2 units in Z. So we've got X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to say minus 0.2, which will move it that direction in Z, minus 0.2 units, and it will make 20 copies of that. Got copy on here. So let's go ahead and duplicate that. Okay. So that's given us a nice row. I don't know if that's quite enough. You can always delete them later, so I'm going to go ahead and make 30 just to make sure, because I think we're going to have to scale this down a bit. Okay, I'm just going to group those together, Control G, and center that pivot. Okay, and now I'm just going to kind of scale this down to the general size that we want, as well as the sort of general position. And just kind of get it kind of close. Rotate it and kind of rotate it at the right angle. Move it down. You can see that it's actually not that far off, but we need to bend it a little and just kind of deform it a little to fit this vent housing just a little bit better. So we can do that using some deformers. The first deformer I'm going to use is probably the bend deformer. So let's go in here, animation, create deformers. This is going to be under nonlinear, and I just going to do a bend. You can see our deformer has shown up here. And let's see, we want to bend it around this way. If you want to go in here to your bend, you can check out which way that's bending by clicking on your curvature and checking that out. So that's bending it over this direction. Okay, so what we need to do is move this to be sort of in line with our piece here, and you can just move that wherever you want. Just kind of get it aligned there. Now if we click our curvature, you can see that that's kind of doing a little bit more what we want. And we just want to do it ever so slightly. Just 0.1 I think will work, and just bends those a little bit. And now to get rid of that bend, you can just select that group. Basically, whatever it is that you applied the bend to, you want to select that and then delete the history. Okay, and now we can use our lattice. And for this one, I'm going to bump these divisions up. Will give us a little more control in specific areas. So I'll just create that lattice. Okay, and now I'm just going to select these lattice points. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to actually get those selected. And I basically want to try to kind of bend this, the ends of this, to match a little bit better with our vent there. Okay, so just kind of bending that, and we can move it up a little bit. And then we can go down here to this guy, kind of do the same thing. You might even need to bend this a little bit to get it, just so it's a little bit more even, because this is definitely a more extreme bend. So it's going to take a little bit more work on there. Bend it up, and it looks like we might even need to move that up a bit. And our lattice is pretty high res, so you want to be careful because we still want this to be nice and smooth transition here. Okay, so you don't want to just bend this end piece and then be done with it, or the other pieces will look off. Move that over. And we're just moving these and kind of just getting them into the position that we want here. And we can rotate these to sort of make that transition a little bit better. Going to move this up, just make sure that they're all sort of at the same level there. Just like so. And then it looks like we might need to pull these endpoints in just a little. We've got pieces that are sticking out here. So I'm just going to grab those, move those in, and maybe move these down and in, just so it doesn't interpenetrate here. Okay. And got a couple up here that are sticking out. Make sure that's smoothed out nicely. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and just select one of my vent pieces. If I can get that selected. Well, go into my outliner then. Select that group and just delete that history, get rid of that. You can see we've still maybe got a few pieces. If you want to go ahead and if there are any individual ones that are giving you problems, you can just grab those points and just pull those in. Alright, so we've got our vent pieces. Now let's actually group together. Some of that, it'll look like you can see that because of when you pull out, but they're actually hidden. So that's okay. So for this guy, we've got everything grouped together. So let's go ahead and take that, grab our housing as well, and then Control G to group those together. And then we can just Control D to duplicate. Pop them right over to the other side. Okay. So now we've got a nice housing built that kind of adds a lot of detail to this back window area. okay, which is kind of nice. So in the next lesson, looks like we're missing some tires. Okay, so we're going to go in here and start working on the tires.